Hi everybody, this is Mr. Nardelli. I wanted to go over a few things from Module 3 just to help you on. I'm sure some of these things will be used later on and possibly in some capacity in the final exam. So we have metric conversions, metric to customary, customary to metric, back and forth. If I have multiple ones in there, you'll see what I mean. The gallon guy and then drop factors. Okay, so most of you took the metric conversion pretty well. Memorized King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So this is the thingy right there, and deca and hecto and all those. So when you're changing from metric to metric, you start with the first one, 5 meters. I'm going to do 5 decimal because that's where the decimal actually is. Now I'll start at the base unit because this is meters, and it says go to kilometers. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to the left. So I'm going to have to do 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps to the left. I'll put my decimal, and I like to put a decimal in front just because that's the way I am. Now I'm going to make sure I jump 3 to the left. It was right here. I did 1, 2, 3 jumps. Yep, I did. And I'll put a km in there. It can be capitalized if you want. It doesn't really matter. So I have 0.005 kilometers. Now, 3 grams. I'll start with 3 point to milligrams. Grams is here in the middle, the base unit. I'm moving to the right 1, 2, 3 jumps to the right. So that means I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 jumps to the right. I'm going to put the decimal there so that you know where it is. I'll check to make sure I went 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Yep, I did. So it's 3,000 milligrams. Now I'm doing 7 meters to centimeters. I'm right here in the middle at the base unit. I'll do 1, 2 jumps to the right. So I'll do 1, 2 jumps to the right. And that one I can visually see pretty well. I'll put the decimal at the end. And feel free to put that decimal at the end. If you're doing multiple choice, I'm sure you'll know the difference between 700 point and 700. Okay, now when we're going from metric to customary, I found this conversion chart. The one you had was a little more extensive. These things just are not memorized. We don't memorize that 1 foot equals that many centimeters. I certainly don't. So let's try, I'm going to do this so we'll be able to see it. Centimeters to inches. So we'll look up here. I have centimeters to inches. So I have 2.5 centimeters equals 1 inch. So I'm going to do 2.54 centimeter. I'm going to have to extend this box. Equals, and how many centimeters I have here? I have 28 centimeters. Okay, now I'm going to continue making my fraction. I just need to do something to make the bottom number go up there a little bit. So I have 2.5 centimeters to 1 inch equals 28 centimeters to X inches, which I don't know. Okay, looks like we might have to, well, yeah, maybe we'll skip that, I don't know. So I'm going to cross multiply, so I'm going to get 2.54x equals, and then I'm going to multiply 28 times 1. Well, that's 28. That was pretty easy. Now I will divide 28. 28 divided by 2.50. I'm sorry, 2.54. And I get 11 point, and I'm going to call it 02. It goes on forever and ever. It might ask you to stop at 2 decimal points or something. So we're basically just putting it into a proportion. Okay, now I guess what I'll do is move this over here and put in another one. But get rid of that work. We'll try the bottom one. 5 yards equals blank centimeters. Well, we've got here yards equals meters. So we're going to do that first. We're going to do yards into meters. So my conversion is 1 yard equals, I'm sorry, yeah. 1 yard equals how many, okay, I'm going into centimeters. So, but first I'm going to do meters. And I'm going to come back to this one in just a moment. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to do something real quick with the layout, so bear with me. Boop, boop. There, that makes things a little bit. Okay, so 1 yard equals 0.914 meters. So I'm going to have to do this because that didn't show up too well. And I noticed a mistake I made. Because I put yards and meters, I should have yards up here. So I'm going to put X yards. Remember, I want to get inches, but I'm going to start with just the yards. Okay, so the unknown yards equals the 1 meter. Okay. That took a moment. Now, when you look at this cross multiplying, you think to yourself, wow, that works pretty good. That gives you 0.0914x equals 1. I like that. Okay, then I'm going to divide 1 by 0.914, and I get 1 point, and I'm going to just say 0.9. It goes on forever and ever. That is inches. That's inches. So you have to know how many inches. I'm sorry, that's yards. You have to know how many inches are in a yard. So I believe that's 36. So I would say 1 inch. Let me put that in a fraction form. 1 inch over 36. I'm sorry. Let me extend this a little bit. Bear with me. It's 1 yard equals over 36 inches. Okay, there we go. Equals, and I have up here 1.09 yards, and I'm going to have X inches. Okay, I am going to do this work over here, and I don't think we need the other problems, but we're going to do this. Okay, so I'm going to get X equals, because you notice I have cross multiply 1 times X. That comes out pretty good. So 1.09 times 36 gives me 39.24 inches. So I just have to do 2 conversions. And I know it can be a little bit scary and crazy, but you just have to kind of take your time with it. Okay, rolling down. G-Guy is coming up next. So we're talking about like if we have 2 types of things on the left or 3 types of things and we're moving to the right. So first we're going to have to change 3 pounds to ounces. So we have to know how many pounds are in an ounce. And if you have that memorized, awesome, good for you. I don't, so possibly it would be, I don't know, if you memorize it or have a chart, but I'm looking it up right now, and I found that 1 pound equals 16 ounces. And I felt a little silly after I looked it up. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that from baking. Okay, I like to do a lot of baking. So there's my general proportion. So I'm looking to change 3 pounds into X ounces. Now, I can look at this and I can say, I just went from 1 pound to 3 pounds. I multiplied by 3. So I can just multiply 16 times 3, and I'll get X equals 48 ounces. Okay, now what I have to do is just add this 2 that's here. So get 48, 49, 50 ounces. So I've got my total answer. Okay, the other one, I'm going from yards and feet to inches. I showed you the other night in class before the test changing yards to feet and then feet to inches, but you can change this yards directly to inches. If you know that, you would have to know that exact formula. So I'm going to look that up real quick. Okay, so it gave, I want to say, 1 yard, it's 36 inches. And again, I'm going, oh gosh, I kind of knew that. I can't believe that. So I'm going to say 1 yard is 36 inches equal, and I'm going 7 yards, and that should have been underlined, but there we go, equals how many inches? Okay, again, I can look at this and go, wow, that's just 1 times 7, so I'm going to do 36 times 7, and I end up getting 2 inches. I'm going to table that for a moment, so I'm not going to use it. I will highlight it so I know, come back to it. Okay, now we'll have to change the feet to inches. I know 1 foot equals 12 inches. I thought about that for a second. So I'll do my equals. So I'm going to say 6 feet, underline, equals how many inches? Now, again, I'm looking at that a little bit and going, hey, that's just 1 times 6. So I'm going to do 12 times 6, and I get 72 inches. Okay, so I've multiplied, I've converted both of them, but now I need to do some adding, but let's make sure we add that 6 inches that's given to us. So now I have everything the same, and I do 252 plus 72 plus my 6, and I get 330 inches. Okay, so the gallon thingy thing. And I told you didn't do too well teaching this a lot, so this is the only way I really know how to do it. I'm very visual. So if I'm talking about quarts, certain quarts equals cups. So you can see the letter C's in there. So I'm going to say 14 quarts, but I know here 4. So I know in here 1 quart is equal to 4 cups. I'm just looking at that and I can see that is a fact. 1 quart equals 4 cups. So I want to know 14 quarts equal how many cups? So I'm looking at this and I said, oh, that's multiplied by 14. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 14 and I get 56 cups. So if you put it in a proportion, it might be a little easier. And I know a lot of you are kind of doing mental proportions, and that's fine. Okay, here's the crazy one. 4 gallons, 3 quarts equals a certain number of quarts. So what we're going to do, first off, I'm going to put 3 quarts over here so that I know to add it in again. I'm talking about 4 gallons. So I know 1 gallon is equivalent to, and I need to look up there, quarts. There's 4 quarts, 4 Qs. 4 quarts. Okay, it's darkened, but you'll be all right. Okay. So I want to know 4 gallons is going to equal how many quarts? So this works out nice. 1 times 4, so I'm going to multiply 4 times 4 times 4. That works out to be 16 quarts. Now I'll just add those guys up, and I get 16, 17, 18, 19 quarts. So this thing really, really will help. Okay, flow rate and drop rate, I think it is called. Okay, I'm going to send you another video of this also, because this can be a little trying. So I've got 2 problems here. Find the flow rate for the given IV, assuming the drop factor of 15 drops. So first, identify what you have. I wrote down my volume is 1,800 milliliters. My time of infusion is 5 hours. My drop factor is 15. So the first thing I need to do, convert the time from hours to minutes, and then use the formula here. So I would do 5 hours times 60 gives me 300 minutes. My drops per minute formula is volume times drop factor over the time. So I'll plug it in. My drop factor, my volume is 1,800. My drops per milliliter is 15. And then I have 300. So I get 2,700 over 300, which gives me 90. Now, if this had asked for a fraction, you would still do 90, maybe 90 over 1, but this divides out pretty evenly. Okay, now when you do kind of the same thing, but you're looking for time, find the length of time in hours. The IV should be administered assuming a drop factor of 10 drops per milliliter. This one says your answer should be in fraction. And I will show you. Come on, back up. Just bear with me. My fractions decided to be a little bit weird. Whoop. Okay, I'll figure that out in a second. So again, identify what's given to you. Here's what's given to me. First, I need to convert the flow rate to milliliters per minute. So I have 20 drops over 1 minute times 60 minutes over 10 drops gives me 120. Then convert the flow rate to milliliters per hour. So that's 2 milliliters over minutes times 60 gives me 120. Now I'm going to be able to solve that problem by doing this, and then I'll make sure everything is over its or under where it should be, and I'll explain this right now. So now I'm going to do the time. Now this looks like a whole lot, but it's just working through some things. So time is volume over 120 liters per hour. So that's going to give me 1,000 divided by 120. And I forgot my zero there. Sorry. So here it is without the milliliters. I'm simplifying it to 100 over 6, 50 over 3, and it gives me sorry. So it asks for a fraction, so it would be 50 over 3. But if it asks for it in decimal form, I took 50 divided by 3 to give me 8.33. Okay, again, I'll send you another drop rate form video too. Hope this helps. Thanks.